You walk into a Louis Vuitton store. The lighting is perfect. The displays are immaculate. Every bag sits like a piece of art, carefully positioned, glowing under strategic spotlights. You see it, the bag, the one you've been wanting. Maybe you've been saving for months. $2,000, $3,000, maybe more. It's not just a bag. It's Louis Vuitton. It's status. It's arrival. It's proof that you've made it, that you can afford this level of luxury. But here's something they don't tell you as you're pulling out your credit card. That bag you're buying, if it doesn't sell, if it sits too long, if there's too much inventory, Louis Vuitton would rather burn it than discount it. I'm not speaking metaphorically. They literally destroy unsold inventory, burn it, shred it, cut it up, make it unusable. Millions of dollars worth of perfectly functional handbags, shoes, clothing deliberately destroyed every year, not donated to charity, not sold at discount, not given to people who could use them, destroyed. And it's not just Louis Vuitton. Burberry, Chanel, Cartier luxury brands across the industry do this. In 2018, Burberry was exposed for burning $37 million worth of goods in a single year. $37 million. Up in smoke, literally. The public was outraged. Why would any company do something so wasteful, so stupid, so environmentally destructive? But here's the thing, for luxury brands, this isn't stupidity. It's strategy. It's essential. It's how luxury actually works. Because luxury isn't about quality. It's not about craftsmanship. It's about scarcity, control, exclusivity. And once you understand why they burn perfectly good bags, you'll never look at luxury brands the same way. You'll see that Pristine store differently, that $2,000 bag differently, the whole concept of luxury differently. Because what they're really selling, it's not bags, it's an illusion. And destruction is how they maintain it. To understand why luxury brands destroy inventory, you need to understand that luxury retail operates on completely opposite principles from regular retail. Regular retail, the goal is volume. Make products, sell them, move inventory. If something doesn't sell, put it on sale. End of season, 50% off. Still not selling? 70% off. Eventually, you discount it enough that someone buys it. The business model, high volume, lower margins, accessibility. Get products into as many hands as possible. Luxury retail, the exact opposite. The goal is not volume, it's control, scarcity, exclusivity. Here's the fundamental principle: scarcity creates value, accessibility destroys it. In normal economics, more supply equals lower prices, basic supply and demand. But luxury goods are called Veblen goods, named after economist Thorstein Veblen. They're products that become more desirable as the price increases. The more expensive it is, the more people want it. The harder it is to get, the more valuable it becomes. Why? Human psychology. We want what we can't easily have. We value what's rare. If everyone has something, it's not special. If few people have it, it's status. So Louis Vuitton's business model controlled scarcity, maintained exclusivity, preserved brand value. They don't produce as much as they could sell. They limit distribution. They control who gets what. And here's why discounting is death for luxury brands. If you can get Louis Vuitton on sale, it's no longer Louis Vuitton. The entire value proposition is exclusivity. Not everyone can afford this. The moment it's discounted, that proposition collapses. And here's the problem: unsold inventory creates opportunities for gray market sellers. Excess inventory ends up with unauthorized discount retailers, outlet stores, online discount sites. Suddenly, you can get Louis Vuitton for 40% off, maybe through an unauthorized seller, maybe through an outlet. And what happens? People stop paying full price. Why pay $2,000 when I can get it for $1,200? But worse, the perception changes. If it's on sale, it must not be that special. Real example, Coach. In the mid-2000s, Coach was a legitimate luxury brand. Then they opened outlet stores everywhere, made their products too accessible, too discounted, and their brand value plummeted. They went from luxury to mall brand. Revenue dropped. They lost their luxury status. It took them years to rebuild. limit outlets, raise prices, re-establish exclusivity. The lesson? Once you decount, once you become accessible, you can't go back easily. So here's the calculation luxury brands make. Option A, destroy $10 million in unsold inventory. Option B, decount it, risk devaluing a $10 billion brand. For them, the math is obvious. Destroy the inventory. It's not waste. It's brand preservation. It's protecting the value of every other bag they'll ever sell. And it works. People still line up to buy Louis Vuitton at full price. Still save for months. Still see it as special because they've never seen it on sale. Never seen it devalued. Never seen it become common. The bags they burn ensure the bags they sell remain worth $2,000 in consumers' minds. But this wasn't always how luxury worked. This is a relatively recent evolution, and understanding how we got here makes the whole thing even more calculated. Let's go back to the beginning. 1854, Louis Vuitton was a real person, a trunk maker in Paris. He was an actual artisan. He made high-quality travel trunks for wealthy clients. Custom work, real craftsmanship. His innovation, flat-top trunks that could be stacked. Waterproof canvas, practical, durable, well-designed. And yes, expensive, but the price reflected quality, materials, labor. Rich people bought them because they were actually better. The brand grew over decades, passed through family, maintained quality and reputation. Through the mid-20th century, luxury still meant craftsmanship, quality, things made to last by skilled artisans. Then 1987, everything changed. The merger, Louis Vuitton plus Mo Hennessy equals LVMH. The creation of the world's largest luxury conglomerate. Dozens of brands under one corporation. And at the helm, Bernard Arnault, not an artisan, a businessman, a financial strategist. His philosophy, luxury isn't about craft. It's about brand value, financial assets, portfolio management. He treated luxury brands like financial instruments. The goal, maximize brand value, optimize returns. And that meant industrializing luxury, scaling production, global expansion, mass manufacturing. Louis Vuitton bags started being produced in factories, mass production, thousands per day. But here's the tension. How do you mass produce while maintaining the perception of exclusivity? The solution, you control distribution carefully. You limit who can sell your products. And you destroy excess. The 1990s and 2000s, the luxury boom. Aspirational luxury exploded. New wealth globally. Emerging middle classes in Asia. Everyone wanted luxury brands, and Louis Vuitton obliged. The LV monogram became everywhere, on bags, wallets, shoes, accessories. But they became victims of their own success. When everyone has Louis Vuitton, is it still luxury? The logo was everywhere, on every corner, every mall, every celebrity, every aspiring consumer. Brand dilution. The risk, if something's too common, it loses luxury status. Then add counterfeiting. Fake Louis Vuitton flooded markets. Canal Street in New York. Markets in Asia. Online. You couldn't tell what was real anymore. The brand was being devalued from multiple directions. The response, tighten control, limit distribution, crack down on counterfeits, and destroy unsold inventory. Early 2000s, first reports leaked. Luxury brands were destroying unsold goods. Employees talked. Whistleblowers leaked information. People started realizing what was happening. The public was confused, outraged. You're burning perfectly good products? Why not donate them? Brand responses, deflection. We don't comment on internal practices, denial. That's not our policy. But the practice continued because economically it made sense. Through the 2010s, more evidence emerged. More brands caught, more documentation. Then 2018, Burberry's annual report revealed they destroyed £28.6 million worth of goods, about $37 million USD. Clothes, accessories, even perfume, just destroyed. Why? Their stated reason, to protect brand value and prevent goods from entering the gray market. The backlash was massive. Environmental groups, consumer advocates, regular people appalled by the waste. Twitter erupted. Instagram campaigns. #Burberry burn trending. The optics were terrible. We're in a climate crisis. People are struggling. And luxury brands are burning millions in goods. Burberry quickly announced they'd stop the practice, promised to find alternatives. Other luxury brands scrambled, released statements, promised to do better. Louis Vuitton, they stayed relatively quiet. No admission, no denial, just silence. Because here's the reality, the practice didn't stop. It just got more discreet, more careful destruction methods, better OPSEC, less documentation, more NDAs for employees. Because the fundamental economics haven't changed, scarcity still creates value. Discounting still destroys brands. Industry insiders confirm luxury brands still destroy unsold inventory. They just don't talk about it. Louis Vuitton still doing it. They just never admitted to it publicly in the first place. The bags are still burning, just behind closed doors now, where cameras can't see, where public outrage can't reach. But here's the deeper question. Why does this strategy work? Why do we still want these brands? Because the destruction isn't the full story. The real story is in our heads. Let's talk about why any of this matters. Why we care about luxury brands at all. Because at its core, luxury is about psychology, about how we see ourselves and how we want others to see us. Humans have always signaled status. Always. Ancient societies had symbols of rank, jewelry, clothing, possessions. Today, it's luxury brands. The logo on your bag tells a story about you, or at least you think it does. And we're hardwired to want what others can't have. Exclusivity triggers something primal. The scarcity principle, when something is rare or limited, our brains assign it more value, even if objectively it's not more valuable. This is why limited editions work, why people camp outside stores. Fear of missing out, the drive to get what's scarce. But luxury inverts social proof. Usually, everyone's buying this makes you want it. With luxury, not everyone can have this makes you want it more. Welcome to the aspiration economy, the idea that you can buy your way up the social ladder. Luxury brands sell identity, not just products. They sell who you want to be. Buy this bag, and you're not just carrying stuff. You're sophisticated, successful, someone who's made it. And bags specifically, they're the gateway drug to luxury. They're visible status symbols. Everyone sees what bag you're carrying. The logo is recognizable from across a room, and the price range is strategic. $2,000 for a bag, not so expensive that it's completely unattainable, but expensive enough to signal status. You can save up for it. You can imagine affording it. It's aspirational but achievable. And there's a narrative. I worked hard. I saved. I earned this treat. But what are you actually buying? Not just leather and stitching. You're buying permission to feel different. The dopamine hit when you finally buy it. The feeling of specialness. The satisfaction of finally having what you wanted. Carrying it out of the store. Using it for the first time. Feeling like you're part of something exclusive. But here's the trick. You are feeling exclusive while millions of other people own the exact same item. Louis Vuitton produces millions of bags. Millions. You're not unique. You're part of a massive consumer base. But you feel exclusive because the brand has convinced you that you are. And this is the tightrope luxury brands walk. They need enough people buying to generate revenue, but not so many that exclusivity dies. So they create tiers. Regular Louis Vuitton, accessible relatively. Limited editions, actually hard to get. Special releases, collaborations with artists, VIP-only items, creating layers of exclusivity even within the brand. And the waiting list strategy, making people wait increases desire. Hermes perfected this with Birkin bags, multi-year waiting lists. You can't just buy one even if you have the money, and that creates mystique. If you have to wait years, it must be really special. Louis Vuitton adapted, limited releases, items sold out even though production could easily increase. Creating artificial demand through artificial scarcity. Then add social media, Instagram, TikTok, luxury everywhere. Influencers with Louis Vuitton, celebrities casually carrying $5,000 bags, unboxing videos, haul content. You see it constantly, and that visibility increases desire. You want to be part of what you're seeing, but this threatens exclusivity. If everyone's posting their Louis Vuitton, is it still special? Brands need visibility for aspiration, but not ubiquity, which kills exclusivity. And this is where destroying inventory fits in. It's a control mechanism, ensuring supply never quite meets demand, never becomes so available that exclusivity dies. The bags they burn maintain desire for the bags they sell. But there's a cost we conveniently ignore: the environmental destruction, the waste. We're in a climate crisis, but we're buying leather bags produced using massive resources, then having extras destroyed. Cognitive dissonance, knowing it's wasteful but wanting it anyway. The justifications: I'll use it forever. It's an investment. I deserve this after working hard. Reality check: a Louis Vuitton bag is not an investment. It depreciates the moment you leave the store. It's a purchase, a luxury purchase. And here's what you're really paying for: a bag that costs $200,400 to produce, marked up to $2,000 plus. Where does that markup go? Branding, marketing, store leases. And yes, the budget for destroying unsold inventory. But here's the thing: even knowing all this, you might still want it, because the psychology is that powerful. Knowing you're being manipulated doesn't make you immune to the manipulation. But there's more to the environmental story. And it's even worse than just burning unsold bags. 2018, Burberry's annual report, the number that shocked the world: 28.6 million pounds, $37 million worth of clothes, accessories, and perfume destroyed in 1 year by one brand. The public reaction was immediate. How could they, in a world dealing with waste, climate crisis, poverty? But Burberry wasn't alone. They were just the ones who got caught with documentation. Industry insiders confirmed this is standard practice across luxury fashion. Estimates suggest luxury fashion destroys tens of millions of dollars worth of goods annually. Some estimates go much higher. Louis Vuitton doesn't publish these numbers. Most luxury brands don't, but insiders report the practice is widespread and significant. What gets destroyed? Perfectly functional products, bags with minor defects, last season's items, overproduced inventory. Nothing wrong with them except they threaten brand value by existing. The methods: incineration, literally burning the goods; shredding, industrial shredders destroying them; chemical treatment, making them unusable. Why not donate? The brand logic: if poor people wear our products, it damages brand perception. Let that sink in. They are explicitly saying we'd rather destroy than let the wrong people have our products. It's class-based gatekeeping, maintaining exclusivity through ensuring only wealthy people can access luxury. But let's talk environmental impact, because it's not just the destruction itself. Incineration releases carbon, burning leather, synthetic materials, packaging, all creating emissions. But worse, all the resources used to produce these items in the first place: leather production, animal raising land, water, feed, slaughter, tanning, highly water and chemical intensive. Leather tanning uses chromium and other toxic chemicals. Massive water usage, significant pollution. All of that: the land, water, chemicals, energy, animal life wasted when the final product is destroyed. The carbon footprint: manufacturing, transportation of materials, factory operations, shipping to stores or warehouses, then destroyed. All those emissions for absolutely nothing. Water usage: leather production alone uses enormous amounts. Cotton for linings is water intensive. Synthetic materials, petroleum-based, have their own environmental costs. And the human labor: someone made these products. People spent hours cutting, stitching, assembling. Their work, their time, their skill destroyed for brand image. Now here's the hypocrisy: luxury brands love to talk about sustainability. We're committed to environmental responsibility, sustainable practices, reducing our carbon footprint, greenwashing. Pretty words while burning millions in inventory. Louis Vuitton promotes sustainability initiatives, recycled materials in some products, carbon offset programs, while simultaneously destroying unsold inventory. The contradiction is staggering. The token efforts: we've reduced destruction by 10%. Sounds good until you realize they're still destroying 90%. The fundamental practice unchanged, because changing it threatens the business model. Some governments have had enough. France, 2020, passed a law banning destruction of unsold non-food goods, including clothing. Brands must donate, recycle, or repurpose unsold items. Destruction ban. Other countries watching, considering similar legislation. But of course, there are loopholes. Damaged goods can still be destroyed. Definition of damaged is flexible. Some brands adapting minor defects suddenly classify items as damaged and eligible for destruction. Or they recycle, which often means downcycling into insulation or industrial materials. Not quite the solution it sounds like. There are alternatives. Brands just resist them because they threaten the business model. Alternative 1, produce less in the first place. Better demand forecasting. More conservative production. But that limits potential revenue. Brands want to produce enough to capture all possible sales. Overproduction is baked into the model. Alternative 2, better inventory management. Sophisticated systems to match production with demand. But it's not perfect. There will always be some excess in fashion. Alternative 3, discount excess inventory. Accept lower margins on unsold goods. But as we've established, this kills luxury brand value. Unacceptable. Alternative 4, donate to charity but remove logos first. But even without logos, these products entering the market increases overall supply and potentially undermines pricing. So brands choose destruction because all alternatives threaten the fundamental business model, artificial scarcity creating premium pricing. The corporate calculation, environmental and ethical costs are externalized. Society bears them. Brand value is internal. Company captures it. So they optimize for profit, not planet. Destruction makes financial sense even if it's environmental and ethical nonsense. And we enable this. Every time we buy luxury specifically for the exclusivity, we're supporting the system that requires destruction to maintain that exclusivity. We're part of the system. Our desire for status and exclusivity creates the market that makes destruction profitable. So the question becomes, are there alternatives? Brands doing it differently? So are there luxury brands operating differently without destruction? Patagonia. They don't call themselves luxury, but they charge premium prices. Their business model: make products that last, repair them for free or cheap, encourage customers to buy less. They literally ran campaigns telling people not to buy their products unless they needed them. And it works because they built their brand on actual values, not artificial scarcity. But here's the key: they sacrifice some potential profit for their values, which is why luxury brands won't follow this model. Would require fundamental change to prioritize values over maximum profit. But there is disruption happening. The resale market. Platforms like the Real, Vestiaire Collective, Rebag, luxury resale marketplaces. They authenticate and sell pre-owned luxury goods, creating a legitimate secondary market. And luxury brands hate this. Absolutely hate it. Why? Because secondary markets threaten primary sales. If you can buy a used Louis Vuitton bag in perfect condition for 60% of retail, why buy new? Worse, it proves these bags last, that they don't need to be replaced, undermining the drive to buy new collections. Louis Vuitton has fought resale platforms legally, trying to control authentication, limit secondary markets. But they're losing. Resale markets are growing rapidly. Gen Z especially embraces resale. Less stigma about used, more value conscious. Then there's rental. Rent the Runway expanding into luxury goods. Rent a $3,000 bag for an event. Return it. Someone else rents it. Democratizes access without requiring ownership. More people experience luxury without buying. Brand response is mixed. Some have launched their own rental programs. Others resist the threat. If people can rent luxury for occasions, why save up to buy? The opportunity: renting introduces people to brands they might later buy from. Here's what's really changing things: Gen Z. Surveys show Gen Z cares deeply about sustainability, climate change, ethical consumption. But they also want luxury brands, still aspirational, still status conscious. So brands face attention. Gen Z demands sustainability but also exclusivity. Some luxury brands trying to adapt. Sustainability initiatives, eco-luxury lines. But fundamentally, the model hasn't changed. Exclusivity through scarcity, destruction to prevent excess. Small changes are happening. Some brands have reduced destruction, better inventory forecasting, more sophisticated production planning, some recycling programs, taking back old products to repurpose materials. But transparency is lacking. Brands don't publish destruction numbers, don't fully disclose practices. The greenwashing continues, highlighting small changes while major practices remain.
Legal pressure is increasing France as well. Other countries weaken. Do you considering broader regulations on fashion waste and destruction? But corporations are lobbying hard against restriction, claiming operational impossibility, threatening to move operations. Retail power dynamic, but corporations say Government trying to regulate them. Then there is consumer power. Potentially the strongest force. If consumers collectively demanded change, brands would have to respond. But collective action is hard. Individual consumers feel powerless. You, individually, avoiding Louis Vuitton won't change their practices. Cartier still destroy inventory. Still maintain exclusivity. Real change requires systemic action. Regulations. Industry-wide shifter. Collective consumer pressure. But your informed choices still matter. For you. For your value. For the signal you send. At minimum, understanding what you really supporting when you buy luxury. So what does all of this mean? Where does it leave us? Let us go back to where we started. That Louis Vuitton story. That $2,000 bag. No you say it different toy. But also now you understand what you really looking at. Not just a bag system. It's a fully constructed economic model. The price $2,000. Materials and labor might be $200 sampai $400. The rest. Brand value, marketing, distribution control, and yes, the destruction budget. You are not paying for quality that is 10 kali better than a $200 bag. You are paying for exclusivity, for the brand name, for the status signal. And that exclusivity is maintained through the destruction. Through ensuring supply is always controlled, always charged. Bags are burning bright now so that the bag you are thinking of being maintains its perceived value. What are luxury brands really selling? Not product, not craftsmanship, not quality, they are selling participation in exclusivity, membership in outlook, the feeling of being special. And it is the news, honestly, making you feel special for buying mass-produced item. Millions of people own Louis Vuitton. You are not unique, but you feel unique. They trade that feeling through controlled scarcity, through never discounting, through destruction. But beneath, the glamour is darkness. Willing to destroy rather than democratize, choosing mass over accessibility. And this reveals something about modern capitalism. Profit optimization above all else. Environmental cost. Externalized, ethical concern. Secondary brand value. Primary, from a pure profit perspective, destruction makes sense. Better to burn $10 million, can raise the value as $10 billion brand. From a human perspective. From an environmental perspective, it is insane, it is wasteful, it is destructive. From a consumer perspective, you are paying premium prices for artificial scarcity. That bag is worth $2,000 because they say it is and because they destroy the alternative air. The real value? The leather, the labor, the craftsmanship. Might $300 sampai $500 for a good quality bag, the rest is brand markup. Paying for the logo, the exclusivity, the club membership. But here is the thing, the psychological value is real. If owning that bag genuinely makes you feel good, confident, successful, that is a real feeling. The value is subjective. If you value the feeling it gives you more than the $2,000, then for you, it is worth it. But now you have this cognitive dissonance, you acknowledge them, you understand the manipulation. You see the destruction. Can you still enjoy luxury knowing this? That is for you to decide. Some people want to carry, they like it, you can afford it, go and in. That is a no-go. And that is valid. It is your money, your choice, your values. Others will feel differently, the exploitation, the waste, the environmental cost will outweigh the status. Also valid. Aligning your purchases with your values. Take it is no one informed choice, not an ignorant one. You understand what you are supporting, what system you are participating in, what your purchase enables, and you simply know it. Every luxury purchase you consider now has this context, but this is bigger than just luxury bags. And this is about manufacturing scarcity as an economic principle. Other industries trade artificial limit to drive prices, entertainment, housing, technology. Scarcity creates value. Even artificial, manufactured scarcity, modern economy runs partly on this. Controlling supply to optimize pricing. Understanding this gives you power to recognize it. The question is, to make it still striking, so that Louis Vuitton bag, una final, it is not an investment. quality worth 10 kali the price of alternatives. It is not unique. Millions of people own the same designer, but it actually is. $300 but they convinced you is worth $2,000 by promising to burn the extras. Untraded now. Somehow, they destroying unsold inventory to keep that promise. Burning perfectly good baga, shredding usable product. Destroying what called the used. Auto maintain the illusion that this bag makes you special. What you do with this information is up to you. Some of you will still do luxury. Eyes open, understanding the system, choosing to participate anyway. Clubbers will walk away. Refuse to support destruction. Find alternatives, but are informed choices now. Would you allow never look at luxury the same way again? Louis Vuitton burns their bag to keep your special. Is that the kind of special you want to be?